Christ Ministry and Revival. Great to have you back. Shipwrecked. That's how many of us feel right now. We were going along, living our lives, and all of a sudden, everything fell apart. How could this happen to us? All we need to do is look at the prophecy. We were warned that there would be trials, tribulations. These things were to come. Famines, earthquakes in diverse places. We just didn't expect them to happen to us. Like, that's coming later, hopefully. But God wanted to toughen us up. And many of us are getting stronger. Stronger in the Word, stronger in the Spirit. As we watch the world crumble around us, we say, wow, is that all that held it together? Feels like the whole world was held together by string. Not anything fundamental, not bricks, not something strong that would withstand the wind. A little bit of breeze come up and the whole world falls apart. What's going on there? Let's let God do the talking. In Acts 27, we find, like prophecy to us, Paul was given the spirit of prophecy, and he was a prisoner. He was going to Rome to meet Caesar, and God said that you're going to see Caesar. You're going to go in front of Caesar. And Paul was to set sail, and Paul was guided by God himself, taken care of by God himself, as we are. Paul gave a warning. Paul understood prophecy. Acts 27, and it reads, when it was decided that we would sail for Italy, they proceeded to deliver Paul and some other prisoners to a centurion of the Augustan cohort named Julius. And embarking in a Adramyttian ship, which was about to sail to the regions along the coast of Asia, we put out to sea, accompanied by Aristarchus, a Macedonian of Thessalonica. The next day we put in at Sidon, and Julius treated Paul with consideration and allowed him to go to his friends and receive care. As a prisoner, he would get next to nothing. So God's hand is already showing up. Paul was allowed to go see his friends and get taken care of spiritually, mentally, and physically. From there we put out to sea and sailed under the shelter of Cyprus because the winds were contrary. That was their first clue. The winds were against them and they were sailing. They needed the wind. When we had sailed through the sea along the coast of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we landed at Myra in Lycia. There, the centurion found an Alexandrian ship sailing for Italy, and he put us aboard it. When we had sailed slowly for a good many days, and with difficulty had arrived off Cyndius, since the wind did not permit us to go farther, we sailed under the shelter of Crete off Salmon. And with difficulty, sailing past it, we came to a place called Fair Havens, near which was the city of Lasea. So they're struggling going through all this as we're struggling today. We find that we were given warning beforehand, but Paul was about to give warning as we received warning. But sometimes we don't listen to the warning. Sometimes we say, well, hopefully it won't happen to us, so we're not going to prepare ourselves spiritually, mentally, physically, financially. We'll just take our chances, and God will take care of us. Well, God's taking care of us, but the lack of preparation is showing. Our lives are crumbling around us. This world was held together not by bricks and mortar, but by string. And that string is fraying. The whole world's falling apart. Like, how could this be? How could this be? Is it that fragile? God said it was. Nothing can withstand God's power, or God allowing something to happen. And we were warned about pestilence. We were warned about famine. We were warned about earthquakes happening in diverse places. But we really didn't expect them to happen to us. But they have. Verse 9. When considerable time had passed, and the voyage was now dangerous, since even the fast was over, Paul began to admonish them. Well, Paul said, hey, wait a minute. You people need to pay attention, because the bottom's about to fall out. It's been difficult, but now it's dangerous. There's a big difference between difficult and dangerous. Now it's dangerous. Verse 10. And said to them, Men, I perceive that the voyage will certainly be with damage and great loss, not only of the cargo of the ship, but also of our lives. But the centurion was more persuaded by the pilot and the captain of the ship than by what was being said by Paul. They were busy living their own lives, as we've been busy living ours. We'd pay attention to God. We knew there was a God. Pay him lip service, even attend church, Bible study. But we didn't have that true faith. We didn't need God because the world was taking care of us. Now we need God. God got our attention. Because the harbor was not suitable for wintering, the majority reached a decision to put out to sea from there. If somehow they could reach Phoenix, a harbor of Crete, facing southwest and northwest, and spend the winter there. Just one more mile. Let's just go one more mile. We'll stop at the next rest area and we'll take it easy, and even though we're falling asleep and things aren't going well, let's go a little further. 13. When a moderate south wind came up, supposing they had attained their purpose, they weighed anchor and began sailing along Crete, close inshore. So they thought, we got it made now. We'll just take it easy and keep going, even though it's dangerous. But before long, there rushed down from the land a violent wind called Euraquilo, or a northeaster. And when the ship was caught in it and could not face the wind, we gave way to it and let ourselves be driven along. Now they were out of control. Sometimes that happens to us. We get out of control because we're following the world instead of following God. God's got our attention. God's showing us how fragile the world is, and they really don't have that much to offer when it comes down to it. Running under the shelter of a small island named Clauda, we were scarcely able to get the ship's boat under control. After they had hoisted it up, they used supporting cables in undergirding the ship, and fearing that they might run aground on the shallow of Syrtis, they let down the anchor and in this way let themselves be driven along. They tried to slow the process by dropping the anchor. And a lot of us tried to slow the process by hanging on to the world and saying, it's going to be all right. Nothing to worry about. It's going to end soon. We just need to keep moving. Trust in those people who couldn't be trusted under any circumstances. Even when times were good, they were busy lining their pockets and didn't care about us. Yet, all of a sudden we trusted them, and lo and behold, they let us down again. God never will. God said he'd never leave us nor forsake us. We've been told there'd be this kind of trouble, and it happened. We need to keep our faith and pray.